Good afternoon, everyone. Jamal here. Welcome back to day 4 of Nickel Squash at Home. For today's video analysis, we're going to be taking a look at a match of one of my personal favorite players, James Willstrop, also known as the Marksman. James is playing against Miguel, the Colombian Cannonball Rodriguez, in the second round of the World Championships in 2018. To say there's a contrast of styles is a massive understatement. James is renowned for being one of, if not the most, accurate players on tour. His accuracy, coupled with his variation of height and pace, has enabled him to stay competitive with the top players in the world, even at the advanced age of 36. Miguel is without a doubt one of the most entertaining players on tour, and is known to play a high-pace, high-tempo game that plays into his superior athleticism. With these contrasting styles in mind, let's take a look at a few rallies that showed how the use of height and variation can be effective.
Rock solid. It's like a pit bull.
Yeah, he is.
Just a body and muscle.
Pit bull
Reminds
against
me very much of myself.
pit bull against a Great Dane. You're more of a Chihuahua. You're a designer dog for sure.
I have absolutely no reason why the commentators, shout out to Paul Johnson and Joey Barrington, are going on about dog breeds, but that's their thing. Anyway, let's continue the rally.
Very small designer dog. Well coiffed, but just
With a teacup Yorkie.
a little bit more kind of. James Willstrop would obviously be a Great Dane.
Yeah, that's quality work.
Okay, now that's an amazing finish by James, but let's go back to the beginning of the rally and break it down to see exactly where he got his advantage and how he got into a position where he can play that winning drop. So Miguel is serving up 5-4 to kick off this rally. Let's actually get this speed down to 0.5.
That is rock solid. It's like a pit bull.
Thankfully, we're going to mute the commentators and their talk about dog breeds. So for the first, I'd say 10 or so shots in this rally, they're both playing reasonably good straight length on the backhand side. As you can see, the ball's illuminated on the front wall where it makes contact. So everything's around the service line, if not slightly lower, for the first few shots in the rally. Even though they're not using a ton of variation, the quality of their shots and the accuracy of their shots are forcing their opponents into the back corner, which is allowing them to get forward and take away their opponent's attacking opportunity. Okay, now let's freeze. So as we pointed out, every other shot so far in the rally has been around here or here on the front wall. On this shot here, we can see James approaching the ball a bit lower with a slightly more open racket face, which most likely will mean he's going to be playing a lob. Now, the quality of his lob, as you can see, let me slow this down even further. The quality of his lob is going to force Miguel deep into the back left corner. 1 second. So we can see that is the first ball that's gone above this level. Ball made contact here on the front wall, which really pinned Miguel into the back left corner because he was unable to volley. The shot then forced Miguel to play his own lift. This is easily the highest shot that Miguel's hit on the front wall in the rally, which, even though it's a decent shot, doesn't quite put James under pressure. James then plays a lower, flatter straight drive, more of an attacking length, and we can see by the time Miguel plays his next shot, that ball is pretty much glued to the sidewall. Miguel is reaching into the back left corner. James is either on his way, if not settled, at the tee area right here, which means that he's in a much more advantageous position than Miguel. Miguel scrapes the ball off the sidewall, but as we can see, he now believes the ball in the middle of the court, which is easily a great position for James. You can see that James's racket is fully prepared, left hand extended away to give himself balance, which allows him to play his trademark straight backhand drop shot. Now against most players, that ball hit in the neck means game over, done, good night Vienna, as Arthur Gaskin would say. Now Miguel, being one of the fastest players on tour, is able to get onto the ball, but due to the quality of the shot, he's not really allowed to do much with it. So Miguel scrapes it back cross court. Now we can see once again James is prepared and poised. His racket is ready super early. By the time he plays his shot, Miguel is still on his way to the tee. As I said earlier, James's nickname is the marksman for a reason. So by going for a drop shot that hits front wall, bounce, then sidewall, he completely takes Miguel's options out. And voila, we have a clean winner. That finishing position once again was set up by James's use of the cross-court lob to get Miguel into the back left corner and play a more defensive shot. Alright, on to the next rally. I will mercifully unmute the commentators for this one and put the speed back to normal.
The Willstrop, so he needs more of these rallies, the Colombian Cannonball.
That's astonishing though, Joey, isn't it? Because for me it felt as though Willstrop had done all the work.
Yeah, I know. And that is a gorgeous shot.
Okay, so even though that was a much shorter rally than the last one, we can see Miguel changing his tactics severely. Miguel, as I said earlier, likes to play at a high pace and high tempo, but instead in this rally, he decides to lift the ball on the front wall uncharacteristically. Let's go back and take a look at that in slow motion. So James starts the rally off with a lob serve. As you can see, the ball makes contact very high in the front wall. Miguel, as I said before, uncharacteristically plays a volley straight float down the side wall. With the ball glued to the side wall, right there, James is forced to scrape the ball off by any means necessary. Although James is known as the marksman, even he can't quite keep this ball straight. Now, even though he gets the right height and depth to force Miguel into the back of the court, the quality of Miguel's shot forces James's shot to pop it out into the middle of the court. Miguel, once again employing tactics typically used by James, decides to throw a straight drop in from the back of the court, which completely leaves James flat-footed. There's the rally. One thing to note, something that I see a lot of our junior players forgetting to do, is to follow up their shot. A big mantra for me as a coach is to always expect your opponent to get every single shot back. So if you can follow up your shot just in case they get it back, you can then pounce on the next ball and attack. So we can see here, even though Miguel played a super high quality shot, he's super high up on the tee. If James had managed to get that shot back, Miguel would pounce the next ball, play it into the open space, and would most likely win the rally from there. Alright, on to the next rally.
Trouble.
Certainly a dead court out there. I know that we talked about the temperature, but it seems to be playing more severely than glass courts in New York. It's a different glass court to the one used in New York.
Good use of height here from Willstrop. Perhaps the effects of those two previous rallies taking their toll on Willstrop.
So we can see in this rally that James uses a lot more height than in the previous two. So let's actually go back I'm not going to watch the entire rally over again in slow motion, but let's go back and see and count, if you guys can, how many times James hits a ball that goes above the service line. Play this one at half speed. Let's actually go back a second there. Something that, even though this doesn't quite pertain to using height and variation, James is clearly in the driving seat here. Ball's in front of him, it's a bit loose, he's able to employ a hold, and he can hit to literally any of the four corners because of his body positioning and rack preparation. Now Miguel, because he knows that James can do anything, is in a very good position to retrieve whatever James hits. His knees are bent. You can see that he's looking intently to see what his opponent's doing with his racket ready. So with that low center of gravity, he's able to spring to whatever corner James hits the ball to. So from here, James starts to use height. Let's count. That's one shot that goes way above the service line. That's two. That's three. Three in a row. That's four. That's five. Now, what exactly is James's use of height forcing Miguel to do? That's the first one in quite a while that's gone a bit lower. That's a sixth shot in the rally. So we can see by the time Miguel plays his next shot, James has reestablished himself at the tee, and he's forced Miguel to play a slightly more awkward volley off the side wall, which is going to be super hard to attack. So at the very least, James is neutralizing Miguel's ability to attack and allowing himself to get back into the rally, even though Miguel is trying to play at a faster pace. Okay, that's a bit flatter and lower. That's seven. Okay, so you have 7 shots in the rally that James hit above the service line. Even though the rally ended in a let, which is kind of close to being a stroke, to be perfectly honest, you can see that James's use of height on the front wall allowed him to negate Miguel's attacking abilities. Maybe not completely, but he's able to at least get himself back into the rally even after Miguel took the ball in short. Alright, let's go on to the next rally. Forgive the YouTube ads, guys. Ads about to pop up, so bear with me.
Well, the clubbing cannonball.
Rodriguez.
Well,
Stop it. Just stop overcutting balls.
Speaking of James Willstrop, look at that. Comes up in a YouTube ad. Can you tell he's my favorite player?
the clubbing cannonball can take the first. Certainly put added pressure on James Willstrop, even with a 7-0 head-to-head against the cannonball.
Oh, he's
It's
gone
a
for it.
what's he done there? I mean, it's
Okay, now let's go back to the beginning of that rally, even though it's a very short rally. Let's go back to the beginning there to see exactly what
It's time
happened.
to play it, Joey.
Well, the clubbing cannonball.
So Miguel serves to start this rally off. The score is tied at 9-all, brimming with confidence and momentum after getting a stroke in the previous rally. True to his style, Miguel looks to up the pace and the tempo to try to harass James and force James into playing a looser shot. Let's turn the speed down on this one once again. So James, recognizing that Miguel wants to up the pace and the tempo after the first 2 or 3 shots, decides to not play into his opponent's hands by just kind of slapping the ball around and leaving the ball short. Instead, he tries to pin Miguel into the back corners by any means necessary. So on that shot, he changes the court by playing a cross court. Once again, we can see where the ball made contact on the front wall, well above the service line. That shot, the quality of the shot and the height of the shot forces Miguel into the back right corner. And Miguel, maybe because he's a bit too overconfident, decides to go for what we call an Aussie boast, which is when the ball severely hits the side wall and the front wall and kind of trickles out. It's basically a trickle boast from the back of the court. We can tell that tactically it's probably not the right decision, because James is well in front of Miguel, and even if Miguel wrong-footed James could at the very least lob his way out or even counter drop. Worst case scenario unfortunately happens for Miguel, and he hits the tin, giving James game ball at 10-9. Now once again, we can say that was just a cheap error, but in actuality we can probably say that was squeezed. That's an error that was forced by James, simply by putting the ball into a tougher position for Miguel to attack. Alright, let's move on to the next rally.
Oh, this is going to be tough going now for the Colombian. It's going to be locked down from the marksman, I would imagine. See the T position of Willstrop. He's very alert. He's high up on there. Look.
Oh,
That was wild.
my goodness, that was close.
Tight work. It's the 1-2. He's done well.
Great use of height, James.
It's a great squash.
Great use of height, Miguel as well.
Oh, it's Tane. Oh, he's gone for the let.
I'm not going to lie, that is an absolute shocker of a decision. It should be a stroke. But let's go back in the rally to see exactly what both players are trying to do to get each other off the tee. Comment down below, by the way. Let me know exactly what you guys think this decision should have been here at 10-9. Game ball for James. Anyway, let's go back to the beginning of this rally. So we can see from the get-go that both players are trying to cut the ball off, take the ball super early, to take time away from their opponent. Miguel is usually the one who's more adept at this, so James, knowing that, is going to try to play a bit higher on the front wall, and if he goes cross-court, he makes sure he gets it nice and wide, just like that shot, hitting the sidewall first to get the ball outside of Miguel's volley range. Same exact thing there. Nice and wide, he gets it past Miguel low and wide, forces Miguel off the tee. Now let's actually go back. Miguel's shot, as we can see once again, glued to the sidewall, was hit just a little bit higher, fading into the back corner, which is going to mean that James is probably going to play a more defensive shot. Miguel, as I said earlier, now looks to follow it up and hits a very simple but effective backhand volley drop. James, who's under immense pressure, decides to lift the ball in the front wall. As we can see, the ball made contact on the front wall somewhere around there to get the ball outside of Miguel's volley range. Miguel, as he has been doing all game long, is looking to follow up his attacking shot. If James played his shot a little bit lower, Miguel would have very easily stepped across, volleyed down the line, putting James under immense pressure. You can see that ball hit off the front wall there, hit the side wall there, forcing Miguel to go further back into the court. Another great use of height by Miguel, forcing James into the back corner. So Miguel doesn't quite get the right width on that volley drive, which then set the tone for us of the rally. leaves the ball, he's forced to play a boast and leaves the ball short, where James, because he's super accurate, has a ton of options. And I'm not quite sure if any of you guys picked up on this, but James actually broke his racket during the point, which leads to this very questionable or uncharacteristically inaccurate drop shot of his. You can see the ball coming out over there, which is why that should be, in my opinion, a stroke and not a light, which the referees give. Now we can see, if we pause it just right, that is not a curved racket. That is completely straight, which means he broke the racket sometime during the rally. I don't know if you guys have ever played with a broken racket. Playing with a broken string is one thing. Playing with a broken racket, that is nearly impossible. So for James to maintain that quality throughout is very impressive. Alright, let's go on to the last rally. Set the speed back to normal.
To the video official, who is recovering from the rugby ball that was thrown from Mazzarella directly into his nose. Willstrop pushing up the court even further. He squeezes the error.
This is what
And
we
that's
talk
game
about,
for
the
James.
importance
Let's
of
go
timing.
back to the beginning of the rally to see exactly what James did well. So here we have James serving a game ball 13-12 in the first game after about 27 minutes of play. As I said before, Miguel is noted for his athleticism and being super fit, so this pretty much plays into Miguel's hands. At this point, James is probably a bit tired, found out feeling the effects physically, but instead of collapsing or instead of getting super defensive, James decides to play a more offensive and a much more proactive, thank you Peter, yes I owe you 25 cents for that, but a more proactive and not reactive style of squash, while still using height on the front wall. As per usual, James hits a lifted serve to force Miguel into the back corner. Miguel plays a very good, once again glued to the side wall straight drive that's a little bit higher on the front wall. James is able to return it with a little bit of interest. Miguel plays an attacking shot to which James lifts once again, using even more height to force Miguel into the back corner. Again, things to note. We can all see, we can all, I guess, learn from watching how these players, even though they're super strong and athletic, are aiming above the service line, well above the service line, to get the ball into the back corners. One of the mistakes that we see our juniors make a lot is leaving the ball short because their drives are hitting more around here. So once again, when in doubt, use the height on the front wall. There's literally another 12, 13, 14 feet of front wall to use up here, guys. Alright, so as I said before, James is at game ball. Even though he might be feeling it physically, he decides to give it one big push, and after establishing his length and establishing getting Miguel behind him, decides to step forward and take the ball super early, playing at a high pace and high tempo that is pretty, it's generally better suited for Miguel, but it might catch Miguel by surprise. So there we have one volley, which takes away Miguel's movement, and it forces Miguel to play a boast that is not quite on. Miguel should have lifted it straight to then get James off the tee, but instead goes for kind of a shot with more flares, trying to kind of force the issue. When in doubt, guys, if your opponent's giving you nothing to work off of, if you don't have an angle to play off of, I'd rather you play it straight and a bit higher to get your opponent to the back. When you're in front, then you have a wider margin of error, so then you can go for the angle. You can throw in the boast, you can throw in the cross-court drop, you can throw in the straight kill, the cross-court kill. But from back here, probably not the right time to be playing that ball short, especially a game ball down. So Miguel opts to play the boast, which hits the top of the tin, which gives the game to James. And there you have it, guys. So that is the first game of the World Championships in 2018 between James Willstrop and Miguel Rodriguez. Comment down below, kind of off topic from height and variation, but comment down below, what would you guys do if you're playing an opponent that is more athletic and faster and fitter than you? Also, on the flip side, what would you do, what would your game plan be if you're playing someone that's a lot taller than you, that likes to cut the ball off and volleys well? Alright, looking forward to hearing from you guys. That was once again day 4 of our video analysis. And looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Alright, have a great day. Stay safe.